What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com, and it is time to celebrate. That's right, this saga is finally over. The thing that dominated all of the spring and the summer, we made it through like Andy Dufresne in the Shawshank Redemption. Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys have officially agreed to terms on a long-term contract extension. Let me see you celebrate. Let me see you go wild. Let me see you go crazy, because the NFL's reigning rushing champion is back with America's team. In fact, Zeke Elliott is not only the NFL's reigning rushing champion, he's won that title 2 times. Zeke Elliott has played in the NFL 3 different seasons. He has led the NFL in rushing in 2 of them. He has led the NFL in total rushing yards per game since entering the National Football League. If you tell me that this guy's coming back to play for the Dallas Cowboys in a season that defines them, hey man, I'm gonna go wild. I'm gonna get some pom-poms, I'm gonna pop some champagne, I'm gonna fire off the fireworks, and I'm gonna have a good time. Look, the fact that this is finally over is huge news and a big sigh of relief for the Dallas Cowboys. Again, you know it, I know it, this has been all everybody has talked about. There are like 15 different stories written about this thing every single day. Zeke Elliott was in Cabo, Marshall Faulk was talking on his behalf, he was liking stuff on Twitter, he was retweeting Joe Thomas. But none of that matters anymore, because Zeke and the Dallas Cowboys have officially figured this thing out. On Wednesday morning, in the early hours of the morning, they agreed to terms on a 6-year, $90 million contract extension with $50 million guaranteed. Think about everything you could buy with $50 million. That's like 50 million things off the dollar menu at your favorite restaurant. And I'm sure Zeke would eat all of that like he eats all those yards. But look, the reality here is the Dallas Cowboys overpaid for Ezekiel Elliott. Let's call it what it is. Running backs are devalued, we all know that, but the Cowboys had to overpay for Ezekiel Elliott. They had to get him back. It was only going to end up this way, and ultimately, they're protected. This comes out to an 8-year deal when you consider the remaining 2 years on Zeke Elliott's rookie contract, and just over a hair above $12 million from an average annual value perspective. That's not that bad when you consider all the money that's floating around in the NFL. Ultimately, for a player of Zeke's caliber, this had to be done. This had to be done because he's special, he makes them special, and ultimately, the pie that Jerry Jones keeps talking about doesn't really matter. Think about all of the contract extensions that the Cowboys have handed out this offseason, really since last season ended. They paid DeMarcus Lawrence, they paid Jalen Smith, they paid Lyle Collins, and now they have paid Ezekiel Elliott. I mentioned $50 million guaranteed for Zeke. Do you know how much guaranteed money is in all 4 of those deals that have happened over the course of the last 150 some days? Almost $200 million guaranteed. If you think the salary cap is going to prohibit the Cowboys from making any sort of deal, think again. This isn't that big of a situation. There are obviously looming contract extensions for Dak Prescott, which is complicated by Jared Goff's in Los Angeles and Amari Cooper, but the Cowboys have this thing figured out. Remember, this is the front office that you trust. This is the front office that found all of these players, that cultivated all of this talent, and that continues to draft really well. So Zeke and the Cowboys together once again. He hasn't shown up for training camp. He wasn't there for a preseason yet. The Dallas Cowboys, who host the New York Giants on Sunday, now have one of their most potent offensive weapons back in their backfield. This is big because think about what's at stake for the Dallas Cowboys in 2019. It's a contract year for Jason Garrett. They have a first-year offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, and even though Zeke just got his contract, there are still 2 more legs to that tripod, to those triplets in Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper that have yet to get their long-term payday from the Cowboys. This offseason, which is technically now over, thank goodness, has been a prominent one for certain Dallas Cowboys. DeMarcus Lawrence was the highest paid player in Dallas Cowboys franchise history. Jalen Smith got his big-time deal, and now Ezekiel Elliott. You think about it, Zeke Elliott was on the field when Jalen Smith got hurt in that Fiesta Bowl oh so long ago. And the 2 of them, Zeke, by the way, one of the first people to rush to Jalen's side when he laid on the field there in Arizona. They are now long-term cornerstone members of the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people believe in the Cowboys. A lot of people think this is their year. This is their time. This is their chance. They have to prove it. And if you put Zeke on this team on a mission, you have to believe that he's going to do well, right? You have to believe that Kellen Moore is going to figure out a more creative way to use him offensively. This is the most welcome news. This is the greatest thing that has happened to the Dallas Cowboys since basically they traded for Amari Cooper. The front office for the Cowboys continues to make exceptional moves. Will McClay, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones. We'll throw Jason Garrett in there because we're in a good mood. The Cowboys front office is one of the best throughout the entire National Football League, and while paying a running back is a questionable decision in today's game of football, it's one that is obviously worth it when you have a player that is as special as Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys host the New York Giants on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have so much content for you at bloggingtheboys.com. Make sure you visit there. We're going to talk about this thing all day long on the Blogging the Boys podcast feed. You can subscribe on all podcast platforms. And if you're in the mood to subscribe, make sure you subscribe right here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. We have so many fun things, so many activities planned for you throughout this entire regular season. And now we know that it will feature Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys play a football game on Sunday, and it matters. Get hyped. This is a great day, everybody. Make sure you have a great one. We'll talk to you soon after the Cowboys go 1-0. Have a good one, everybody.